Working world, and by M&T Bank, the official community bank of your New York Jets. Now, here's Erik Allen and Erik Coleman.
Welcome to Inside the Jets. We're broadcasting live from Vanderbilt Sports and Spirits inside the Wyndham Hamilton Park Hotel. Erik Allen and Erik Coleman here. We will be joined tonight by both Andre Roberts and Henry Anderson. But as we kick off here on our opening segment, E. Coleman, our postmortem, the Jets went into a ball game against the Minnesota Vikings with an opportunity to sweep a three-game homestand and move to 4-3. Unfortunately, they couldn't get it done against a very good football team. The Vikings take home a 37-17 triumph. For me, the Jets did a lot of good things yesterday, even though they lost by 20 points. But the bottom line is this team has been living off of takeaways defensively. Had entered that ball game with 15 takeaways on the year. That was second in the National Football League. They had 0 against the Vikings. The Vikings, conversely, had 4. The Jets did some good things defensively, got off the field on third down, and handled that Vikings run game in the first half. What we saw in the second half, though, was the Vikings got a couple of big plays from Latavius Murray, and the Jets just couldn't overcome their own miscues, too many self-inflicted wounds to beat a very good football team in the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought the Jets came off and started off well. Playing against the Vikings, a team who a lot of people before the season had up for, Super Bowl contenders, and they're starting to play that way now. Obviously a lot of talent on that Vikings team, but at the same time, the Jets did have a couple self-inflicted wounds that kept them from winning that game. The score was a big margin, but the game, there were a couple plays that if they would have went the Jets' way, the whole game would have been different. So, I thought that a lot of players stepped up and played some good ball yesterday, but there were a lot of miscues. There were some drop passes. There were some, the 2 runs by Latavius Murray, a couple misfits by the defense.
Yeah.
Those are things that can't happen, and obviously the turnover battle. When you lose the turnover battle 4-0, it's going to be tough to get
against anybody in the National Football League.
Against.
You could be playing the Bills, you could be playing the Colts. If you lose the turnover battle 4-0, you're most likely not going to win. This just happened to be a very good football team. The Jets in the locker room after the game, they were not lamenting injuries. But the bottom line here is the Jets were a banged-up squad going into that game. And you have a rookie quarterback who is going to be a very good player in this league. But when you ask him to put the ball up 42 times, it's going to be tough to win. And, oh, by the way, his top weapon, Quincy Enunwa, is out. Terrell Pryor was released from the team on Saturday. He has a groin injury. So that puts people in different spots. And then offensively as well, you're talking about Bilal Powell. He is one of the team's top offensive weapons. He goes down with a neck injury. On the defensive side of the ball, that secondary tremendously banged up. Tremaine Johnson still dealing with that quad issue. You got Buster Screen with the concussion. He's been out. And then you lined up without Marcus May at safety, and Doug Middleton went down yesterday.
Yeah, injuries are a reality in the NFL. It's a long season, 16-game season. By the end of the year, everybody's playing through some sort of injury, and teams have to adjust to it. You saw it offensively. It's kind of that next man up mentality where you have, the receivers stepping up. You have big playmakers coming up. Cannon had a couple of big plays at the running back position yesterday. Defensively, in the secondary, that's the group I've been most impressed with. They lose 3 starters in the secondary,
right,
and don't really miss a beat. They gave up a couple of big plays, but you look at Darryl Roberts, his plays stepping up and making some big plays. That group is a next man up mentality. They believe in you're only as good as our weakest link, and that group really prepares themselves to play well. I think that adversity is something that this team is going to have to go through, as every team will, and it makes it especially difficult for a team with a rookie quarterback missing some key components. It makes it tough for him to succeed without many of their weapons.
Credit the Vikings' defensive game plan, because they took away the Jets' bread and butter. This team is all about having balance offensively, getting it going with the run game. And what we saw Sunday, too often the Jets were in 3rd and long, 3rd and 7. And Minnesota entered that ball game number 1 in the National Football League in terms of third down efficiency. What they were able to do is play too high safety. So they did not commit an extra guy to the box. They took care of the run game, and then they were able to take care of the receivers down the field. What did you think of Darnold's performance? Again, he's another one who said, okay, listen, I got to play better. It doesn't matter who's playing with me or around me. The chemistry is fine. And that was the first time he probably played in conditions like that. I was down on the field pregame with Anthony Becht, our pregame central show, which is broadcast on all Jets platforms at 11 a.m. For home games prior to a 1 o'clock game. And it was cold, and the wind gusts were probably around 20 miles per hour.
Yeah, I mean, it's cold for everybody out there.
Yeah.
And you have to make adjustments. But Minnesota has lived for several years off of playing that cover 2 defense, having a strong front 7, and having those corners attack in the run game. So, I think they did do a great job of making the Jets play left-handed, taking away what they do, which is the run game, and complement that with the play-action game. When you can't run the ball, it's tough to run the play-action game. It's tough to, keep teams off balance offensively. So Minnesota taking away that run, put the ball in Sam Darnold's hands, made him throw the ball 42 times, which this team is not built for. There rarely are there teams that can have success with their quarterbacks throwing the ball.
If you had Drew Brees or
you look at Andrew Luck,
the
last couple of games, he's been throwing the ball 55 times a game, and they have not been winning.
Yeah.
Only Drew Brees can do that. Tom Brady can do it on occasion. You're not built to throw the ball around the park, especially with as many injuries to the receivers.
All right, so offensively, I continue to like what I've seen out of Chris Herndon, a 4th-round pick out of Miami, and Sam Darnold's getting more and more confident with him each week. We saw him with the touchdown reception against the Indianapolis Colts. He had a touchdown reception against the Vikings. He had one called back. But that connection could be one that flourishes for years to come.
Yeah, I was excited to see that connection. Chris Herndon, a guy who came in, and when scouts saw him, he didn't get to run a 40. So not a lot of people had a 40 time for him. They didn't realize the speed that this guy has. Great route runner. He's getting better at blocking. He has some tough guys to block against in practice. So he's getting better continuously with that. And he and Sam Darnold are starting to get a nice rapport. So you like to see the Jets starting to use that tight end position, a position that's been abandoned for the last couple of years.
Hopefully Bilal Powell is okay, because he is such an integral part of this football team. But Trenton Cannon got his feet wet, and that was good to see as well, because he has speed to burn. You put him out, and they had a beautiful explosion completion in terms of the wheel route in the first half there. So Cannon getting very valuable reps as well. Yeah,
Cannon is a guy who made some great plays during the preseason. A young player, dynamic speed, can make guys miss. I always say for the running backs, the toughest part is learning how to pass block. Because you can't play if you can't, adjust to the blitz.
Right.
Pass. Keep
and
that
you're probably
healthy.
Not pass blocking a lot at Virginia State.
No,
they're getting you the football.
Yeah, they're getting you the ball, and he's a playmaker. He's a guy who can develop into a great playmaker, similar to a Bilal Powell. One of those guys, when he gets the ball to the backfield, he has the opportunity to hit his head on the field goal post whenever he gets the ball.
All right, like you mentioned, the Jets had opportunities in this ball game. It was 10-7 at halftime, 17-7 early in the third quarter when Darnold makes one of his mistakes there, one of his glaring mistakes, where he throws to Robbie Anderson, and he admitted after the game that just a bad read, because Robbie was covered there, and the safety, Harrison Smith, was all over the top.
Yeah, I mean, listen, those plays are going to happen. You're going to make mistakes, and that's what you get when you come in with a rookie quarterback. A lot of times when the rookies get to sit back and watch, they can learn from others' mistakes. But playing against this Minnesota Vikings defense, they have one of the top secondaries in the league. Harrison Smith is an all-pro. Trey Waynes is a phenomenal player. Xavier Rhodes is a Pro Bowler. This is not your average secondary that he was playing against. He made things tough on the receivers, and they're going to do that to teams throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah, and then you can even look later in the game. It's 20-7, and Andre Roberts, who's going to join us on the show, has a tremendous kickoff return to get the Jets into plus territory, and no fault on the rookie here, Sam Darnold. He throws a couple nice checkdowns, one to Isaiah Crowell, and also he moves his legs to get out of the pocket, and he finds Eric Tomlinson, and those guys just got to make those catches.
Yeah, you have to come through, especially when you're struggling offensively. You need some players to come through, make those routine catches to move the chains, get that momentum going, because, when you're having a tough game offensively, all it takes sometimes is one or two big plays to get your momentum, to get everyone's confidence going, and next thing you know, you're back in that game.
And then another opportunity. It's 27-17. I know a lot of people left MetLife Stadium at that point after the Vikings had taken that 17-point lead, but Darnold comes back, and it's a 10-point game with 10 minutes remaining, and the Jets have the ball out close to midfield, and Darnold's looking for Andre Roberts. I thought the traffic at his feet affected him, impacted him, where he couldn't step into the throw, and unfortunately that ball was picked, and eventually the Vikings put it away.
Yeah, sometimes you get those balls where you throw in the dig routes, and the ball sails on you. Minnesota does a great job of playing that zone coverage where you have defenders underneath, guys coming over the top, where it's a short window, and those mistakes are going to be made. But, again, another opportunity that the Jets had that they kind of shoot themselves in the foot, where if they don't make that mistake, maybe they're in the game. There are 3 or 4 plays in this game that the Jets didn't make, or if they did make, they'd be right in there.
And that's exactly the point. People wake up Monday morning, they don't watch the game and say the Jets were not in that ball game. They lose by 20 points. If you watch the game and you bring it back to 3 or 4 plays, could be a different outcome. But that is life in the National Football League. And the Jets, bottom line, they stepped up in class yesterday. Beating the Colts is one thing. Beating the Broncos on a short week is one thing. But the Vikings, they're on another level.
Yeah, like I said at the beginning of the show, they're a team that's going to be up to win that NFC North. They're up there with the Green Bay Packers of the NFC.
I think they will win that division.
They have phenomenal talent. They went with the win now mentality, getting Kirk Cousins, a quarterback who's a gunslinger. He has some great weapons out there, Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen, who's been setting records, since he started playing.
Yeah.
He's phenomenal talent. Latavius Murray stepped up big time yesterday, and they were missing Dalvin Cook, but Latavius has been a phenomenal player his whole career, even when he was back in Oakland.
All right, Inside the Jets is supported by Selective Insurance. Responses everything. Erik Allen and Erik Coleman here at Vanderbilt Sports and Spirits inside the Wyndham Hamilton Park Hotel. We will come right back with Andre Roberts.
Ernst & Young LLP is proud to be the exclusive professional business and accounting services sponsor of the New York Jets and MetLife Stadium, teaming with them as the official sponsor of the EY Coaches Club. As a global leader in assurance, tax, transaction, and advisory services, the global network of EY firms has better connected consultants who help organizations navigate the transformative age by asking better questions to find answers to some of the world's toughest challenges, all to build a better working world for their people, clients, and communities.
We haven't seen a superstar like this in years.
You're not kidding, Bob. The people need to know about this standout.
Introducing this year's most sought-after rookie, the M&T Bank Jets debit card. New on the scene, this fantastic plastic stands 2.125 inches tall and weighs a lean 0.2 ounces. This small but mighty paying machine is sure to be charging through checkout lines all season long.
Hey Jets fans, get your hands on the exclusive Jets debit card with Easy Choice Checking. It's free from a monthly maintenance fee and free from a minimum balance requirement, leaving you free from worry.
I have a feeling we're going to be seeing this powerhouse everywhere soon.
No doubt about it. I want one on my team.
So show your love for the Jets and save on fees today. Rush to any M&T Bank branch or mtb.com/Jets today. M&T Bank, the official community bank of your New York Jets. Other transaction and service fees, including insufficient funds and overdraft fees, may apply to this account. Member FDIC.
Every time you close your laptop, a Corona gets its lime. And every time your to-do list is to do one less thing, a Corona gets its lime. Every time you press pause. Every time you unwind or lose track of time, a Corona gets its lime. And every time your feet are up while the sun goes down, a Corona gets its lime. So drop a lime in and find your beach. Please drink responsibly. Corona Extra Beer, imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
Hi, football fans. This is Director Jared Maples with the New Jersey Office of Homeland Security and Preparedness. It's our mission to protect New Jersey with our federal, state, and local partners. Of course, nobody knows our communities better than the people who live there. That's where you can help. If you see something that you suspect is out of the ordinary, report it. Together, we can keep our state safe. Remember, if you see something, say something. To learn more about what to look for, visit njhomelandsecurity.gov.
Jet fans, take your Sunday to another level with the premier Jets pregame party at Club Prime Sport. Enjoy food and drinks, games and giveaways, plus live entertainment. Elevate your game day at MetLife Stadium with a Jets experience like no other. Go to primesport.com or call 877-527-2603 today to secure your spot at the official Jets pregame hospitality at Club Prime Sport. With Prime Sport, it's more than a game, it's an experience. Primesport.com.
Bet online just like in a casino anywhere in New Jersey with 888. Yes, casino games, live dealer, and more at 888.com. It's fun, fun, fun at 888. So bet now. 888 is a proud sponsor of the JETS Jets. 888 encourages responsible gambling. Players must be 21 or older to play and in the state of New Jersey. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
As a young boy, Gavin loved playing football. He lived and breathed it, wanted to go pro. Why, he'd spend hours upon hours just practicing his touchdown dances. And one day, while getting fitted for bifocals, he realized he was never much good at throwing, or running, or catching, or even kicking. Yeah, Gavin's chances of playing pro football were looking like 4th and long. Very long. But he did hear how Geico could save him money on car insurance, so he switched and saved. Then he did kind of a touchdown dance. At least he was still good at that.
In motion goes Robbie Anderson. Quarterback sneak. Darnold pushes the pile. And is he in? No signal yet from the official. The Jets think it's a touchdown, and it is. So Sam Darnold scores the quarterback sneak touchdown.
Welcome back to Inside the Jets. We're broadcasting live from Vanderbilt Sports and Spirits inside the Wyndham Hamilton Park Hotel. Inside the Jets is presented by EY, Building a Better Working World. Erik Allen and Erik Coleman here alongside Andre Roberts. Our player guest segment is presented by M&T Bank, the official community bank of your New York Jets. So we were just talking about it, Andre, before you joined us. How tough were those conditions at MetLife Stadium? It reminded me of the old Meadowlands.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. The worst I've ever played in. Last year when we played here in Atlanta, it was kind of like a tropical storm.
Yeah, it was a rain fest.
And it was kind of windy, but it wasn't anything like what I experienced last game.
Now, Andre, in a day and age where it seems like they're trying to get rid of the kickoff and make special teams almost obsolete, how have you continued to thrive and be so successful in your career?
Yeah, it's interesting. They're trying to take out that return specialist thing. But, you know, when you have guys back there that can be explosive, that can be dynamic, especially guys that can do both kickoff and punt return, I think it could be pretty special.
So you, after the game, Andre, described your day as up and down. There were a couple fumbles. Fortunately, you guys didn't give up points after those. Were able to recover those. And then you had a 53-yard kickoff return that led to a field goal and a 42-yard return that led to a touchdown in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, almost 200 yards in the kickoff return game, which you really like.
Which is huge.
But in the punt return game, not much going on, a muff punt. Fortunately, we got that back. But, you know, that's the kind of up and down I was thinking about. But special teams in general, you know, we had kind of a messed up snap there. Some of our punts were kind of, but it was a windy game, and we kind of take it with a grain of salt and understand what the elements were, what we had to deal with. But we also understand that, you know, we're going to have some windy games coming up soon. All the games so far, going out to the end of the season, are all outside. So we're gonna have some wind, and we got to deal with it the right way.
Do you put that on yourself to provide this team a spark? Because there in the second half, you almost single-handedly put this team right back in the ballgame. 20-7. You had that 53-yard return.
Most definitely. Kick return or punt return, I feel like when I do get a good opportunity, I have a chance to either take it to the house or have a big return. So I think my teammates expect that out of me, especially now, and I try to provide that every time I touch the ball.
Now coming into playing the Vikings, they're typically known for their very good special teams units. Do you guys take that as a challenge upon yourself? As, you know, this week we're playing the Vikings. We have to win this special teams battle if we're going to have an opportunity to win this game?
You take it as a challenge every week. You don't take any team lightly, regardless of what they did last week or what they did last year or, you know, who they have. So we don't take any team lightly. We take everybody like they're the best special teams. We got to beat them all.
But how difficult was it, whether you're fielding a punt yesterday or a kickoff, when that wind is swirling like it was? Because you can't get a beat on the ball sometimes because it can be in mid-flight and either hang up or slightly change directions on you.
Yeah, it did that a couple times. It's one of those things where we kind of do practice in the wind from time to time. We practice outside. Obviously, last week, if you were outside at all, it was windy all week. So we got a little bit of work with that. But like I said before, I put that on myself. I have to practice that, get better with that. And sometimes it's a little inconsistent with the wind. You never know, especially when it's gusting like it was on Sunday. But you got to catch them all.
Now, can we talk? We're going to talk injuries now. Quincy Enunwa down. You know, you lose Pryor. He gets released after an injury. A lot of opportunities in the receiving room. How do you take advantage of, both being the head guy on special teams and preparing yourself offensively to come in and play at that receiver position?
Well, I've been preparing every week as if I was going to play and as if I was going to start. So obviously, being behind those guys, you don't get the same reps, just like a backup quarterback or a backup running back. You won't get the same amount of reps as those starters, but I always prepare like I will be a starter, and myself and others have to step up in the place of Q.
Andre, 27-17 in the fourth, Darnold tried to go to you. What did you see as far as, from your perspective, on the route, and what was the thought process there?
It was just a dagger route, 15-yard in, and looking at the film, especially Sam had a lot of pressure in his face, so he expected me to roll out of it sooner than later, and we just didn't connect.
Are those the kind of the nuances that you get from practicing, being able to get those reps in practice, as opposed to just having to watch and get mental reps and run your routes after practice, not getting those reps?
Well, we practice that, and in practice it's a little bit slower when you don't have a pass rush coming after your quarterback because, in practice our guys can't hit the quarterback. So that's one of those things we kind of need to speed up a little bit more and understand in game time situation, especially in the fourth quarter. You're going to have to be a little bit faster in those situations.
Is that something you take care of on Monday, or can you take care of that immediately after when you guys go to the bench? Because there's so many things going on.
That's something you take care of after the game.
Yep. Okay, so Andre, you're a free agent before coming here to the green and white in the spring. What was the process like, and how did you land here as a Jet?
Free agency is always fun. You get to come back to the table. But there were some teams, obviously, I was looking forward to meeting and going to. And at the end of the process, the Jets had the best opportunity for me at the receiver position and the return position. Obviously, I did some good things in Atlanta and Detroit in the return game, so they wanted me to come here and be exposed for them in that aspect. But when I got here, I started to earn my job, and they saw some good things in me as a returner and a receiver, so I stuck.
Now, as a special teamer, there's obviously a sense of pride, and being that guy on special teams. In the kickoff game, in the punt game, do you pride yourself on being that person that gets double teamed every time? Because back when I played on special teams, it was always, you got to watch out for this guy. Do you take pride in being that person?
I take a lot of pride in that. One thing about being a returner is different from offense, where everybody knows you're going to get the ball as a punt returner and kick returner. So it's not like a couple of guys or 4 guys are coming after you. It's all 10 or 11 guys if you don't, include the kicker. But that's one thing I do take a lot of pride in and know I have a big responsibility for this team.
As a reminder, Inside the Jets on November 5th will be a closed military appreciation event. We look forward to seeing you the following week on November 12th. So November 5th will be a closed military appreciation event. Speaking of the military, how much did that have an influence on you growing up?
Big part of my life. Both my parents were in the military, retired Army, and went to the Citadel. So I have a lot of friends that are still in the military. So it was a big part of my life. Moved around a little bit. I was born in Alaska, lived most of my life in South Carolina, moved to Texas and around a little bit, but it's a huge part of my life.
So is the military still on the cards? Say when you hang them up, do you still have aspirations to become a part of the military?
No, nothing like that. When I get done playing football, I'm going to let my body rest and hopefully sell some chicken at Zaxby's or something.
Well, okay, so what are your parents still active? And can you tell us what they both did or currently do? And also, growing up in a military household, how different was that in addition to the moving around, maybe from what you saw of your friends?
Both my parents are retired now. My mom retired as a first sergeant. My dad retired as a command sergeant major. So they're pretty high ranked.
Yep.
And growing up, it was a little bit stricter in my household, I'm sure. And moving around a little bit. Fortunately, I moved around when I was younger. So I was in Alaska for 2 years. Don't really remember it. Went to Texas for 4 years. Definitely remember that, going to elementary school. And then moved to South Carolina. Parents went to Korea. Moved to St. Croix to live with my grandparents. Then came back to South Carolina and finished high school there. So I was fortunate enough to finish high school with my friends.
That's cool. So does that at all prepare you for life in the NFL? Because if you're going to stay around for long enough in the NFL, you're going to hit a couple of teams. Does that help with the moving around and changing teams?
Most definitely. I think that's one of the reasons why I love to travel now. Obviously, when you're in the NFL, you kind of want to stick with one team, but this is my 5th team, and I'm enjoying the move, so it's been good.
So where's been your most recent destinations in terms of travel in all of season anyway?
Well, right now, Australia. I just had a baby, 5 months now,
Congrats.
And he was born in Australia. So
really?
He's a dual citizen.
Yeah, give him a round of applause.
Thank you.
What's his name?
Jackson.
Jackson?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So I've been going back and forth there. Obviously not during the season. They'll be coming over here on the 30th, actually. But this off season, I was over there a bunch.
So how does that change your perspective now, having a little one?
Yeah, this is my whole floor is pretty much a play mat. I'm trying to get ready. They've been over in Australia, so I've kind of been a makeshift dad, kind of just trying to make them some things happen, get in the crib here and there, but I haven't had to do too much. When I was over there, I had to change some diapers, but she's been holding down the fort, so I know I have some big things coming whenever they get here.
But you got a good lady.
So you're going to be one of those dads that's going to baby-proof the entire house, right?
Most definitely.
And then when you have your second kid, it's just going to go by the wayside.
You know what? I'm going to try to keep it the same. I'm going to just make sure I have all the plugs locked in with plastic and try to keep everything the same. But I'm sure it'll be a little bit easier with the second one.
Well, listen, you got a lot of great things going on in your life, on and off the field. I think you've been an instant impact for this team throughout the first 7 games. The season is already reaching its midway point. But Andre, we thank you so much for stopping by tonight. We're going to come right back here on Inside the Jets with Henry Anderson.
Ernst & Young LLP is proud to be the exclusive professional business and accounting services sponsor of the New York Jets and MetLife Stadium. Teaming with them as the official sponsor of the EY Coaches Club. As a global leader in assurance, tax, transaction, and advisory services, the global network of EY firms has better connected consultants who help organizations navigate the transformative age by asking better questions to find answers to some of the world's toughest challenges, all to build a better working world for their people, clients, and communities.
They couldn't play football without us. We built this stadium. You couldn't tailgate without us. We probably built the road that got you here. Most of all, we promote economic development. That means investments in infrastructure and construction to provide opportunities for developers, union contractors, and members of Operating Engineers Local 825. We're ELEC, the Engineers Labor Employer Cooperative. We build the infrastructure New Jersey and the Jets rely on.
Bet online just like in a casino anywhere in New Jersey with 888. Yes, casino games, live dealer, and more at 888.com. It's fun at 888. So bet now. 888 is a proud sponsor of the JETS Jets. 888 encourages responsible gambling. Players must be 21 or older to play and in the state of New Jersey. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
They couldn't play football without us. We built this stadium. You couldn't tailgate without us. We probably built the road that got you here. Most of all, we promote economic development. That means investments in infrastructure and construction to provide opportunities for developers, union contractors, and members of Operating Engineers Local 825. We're ELEC, the Engineers Labor Employer Cooperative. We build the infrastructure New Jersey and the Jets rely on.
Hey, Jets fans, New Jersey Motor Vehicle Chief Administrator Sue Fulton here to welcome you back for a brand new season of action-packed NFL football and to warn you about the dangers of texting while driving. Sure, fines and penalties are steep, but did you know you're also 23 times more likely to get into an accident if you text and drive? Or that taking your eyes off the road for just 5 seconds at highway speeds is like traveling the length of a football field blindfolded? That's not a winning drive, Jets fans. Learn more at justdrive.com.
Around my house, I'm called difficult. I know what I want, and I always want more. Take my insurance, for instance. I want more coverages, but there's no chance I'm paying more for it. My agent knows this, and that's why she recommended the Selective Edge. With the Selective Edge, I get higher coverage limits and even coverages I didn't know I need. And my agent knows what discounts I deserve. More coverage, more options, less money. That's not too difficult, is it? Find an agent near you by visiting Selective.com. Selective. Response is everything.
Play action. Darnold fires one into the end zone. It is caught. That's a Jet touchdown. Chris Herndon, a strike from Sam Darnold. That time the Jets convert in the red zone.
Welcome back to Inside the Jets. We are broadcasting live from Vanderbilt Sports and Spirits inside the Wyndham Hamilton Park Hotel. Great spot with Andre Roberts, Erik Allen, alongside Erik Coleman. And now we have a second player guest segment presented by M&T Bank, the official community bank of your New York Jets. Let's bring in another guy who joined the Jets a little bit before Andre Roberts, I think. Henry Anderson, a former Colt, who's come in and made an instant impact on defense. Henry, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, appreciate y'all having me.
So, what's the story? Third day of the draft. You're a veteran in the National Football League. You remember the Indianapolis Colts. What are you doing on the third day of the draft when you're thinking, hey, I just probably got a lazy Saturday?
Yeah, I was just honestly chilling at my house in Indy playing video games.
What video game were you playing?
PUBG.
Yeah?
PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. It's kind of like Fortnite, but a little bit different.
Okay.
But just chilling, playing video games, and then I have my phone next to me, look down as the GM's name on it, and I figured I should probably put down the video game and pick up the phone, and he told me that they were going to trade me to New York. He talked a little bit after that, but soon after, Coach Bowles called, D-line coach called, and got everything set up to fly up here.
How crazy was that?
It was weird, just because like 1 second, you're thinking you're going to be in Indy for the next year, and then all of a sudden you get a call and like your whole life changes pretty much in an instant. So it was definitely weird.
How does the GM deliver that message, by the way? Hey, Henry, how's it going? It's Chris. Just wanted to tell you we're shipping you to New York.
I mean, he had mentioned that, like, obviously that's kind of the crappy part of the business, because I had a good relationship with him. He had a good relationship with me, and like we're not together, and like we're different teams now. So it's a tough part of the business, but he and I both thought that it was going to kind of work out better for me, and I was grateful for the opportunity.
Now, do you blame that trade on you guys changing from a 3-4 to the 4-3 defense?
Yeah, I know like the scheme, I fit better in a 3-4 than a 4-3, and I wasn't really the prototypical like 4-3 DN that they were looking for in Indy. So I think that was part of it. And I had some injury issues during my time in Indianapolis, so I think that played a role as well. So I understood the move for sure, and I was definitely happy that they moved me to a team that was 3-4 defense.
Can you talk about the difference between playing defensive end in a 3-4 versus the 4-3?
Yeah, so like 3-4 DN, you're usually close to around 300 pounds, like 290, anywhere for like 290 to 300 pounds, and you're taking on double teams from the tackle, tight end, and sometimes you're bumped down inside on the guard, taking on double teams from the guard and tackle. So you're a little bit bigger and you're kind of eating up blocks, and it's kind of 3-4s are typically designed to where the linebackers are making a lot of tackles. 4-3 ends are a lot quicker, just kind of shooting off the ball, getting upfield, and it's just a different scheme.
So after getting double teamed all the time, how do you find time to continue to make plays in the backfield? It seems like you're always in the backfield whenever you're in the game.
Well, I mean, the coaching staff has kind of put it on me. The role that they've kind of carved out for me has been going in there on third down and getting after the passer. And it's kind of a new role for me. In Indy, I was kind of an every down DN, but coming here and you know, being more of a pass rushing DN, it's been new to me, but I've tried to do the best I can at it. And it's kind of giving me a little more freedom to where I when I'm in there, I can just kind of fire off the ball, get upfield, and try to wreak havoc in the backfield. So I've enjoyed like the role and what it entails, and definitely looking forward to continuing with these guys up front.
Inside the Jets is presented by EY, Building a Better Working World. Erik Allen here with Erik Coleman. And our guest this segment is Jets defensive lineman Henry Anderson. Well, you had the luxury, what I would say, a lot of people would say, is the luxury of, okay, I'm losing weight in Indianapolis to become a 4-3 defensive end. Now I got to go to New York and be a 3-4 D lineman on the interior again. So I have to gain a lot of weight in a hurry. How do you go about that?
Yeah, it was pretty hard because I was like 295 last year in Indy playing DN there, and then since they switched defenses, I dropped down to a little below 270 during the off season, and then obviously once I got that call on draft once I got the call on draft day that I was getting traded, I was like, yeah, I'm going back to a 3-4 team, so I'm probably gonna have to add all that weight back. So the past few months of losing weight has been pretty much for nothing. So I was pretty much from that moment, like the night I flew in, I actually came here and had a couple burgers, wings, some fries. So I was trying to put the weight back on pretty quick. But yeah, it was. I mean, I definitely loosened up my diet a little bit once I knew I had to gain the weight back. Still try to eat pretty healthy. Kind of had a few more cheat meals than I was having during my weight loss phase. But
was it hard though?
Yeah,
like,
it was.
Seriously,
it was. I mean, just because you're like, especially because I came here in the middle of the off-season program when we're having pretty hard workouts and runs and
you're burning calories
so,
left and right.
I was just constantly like, I don't know. People think, oh, you get to gain all this weight, like you must be loving life. You're just getting to eat whatever you want. But it was like, nah, like you're just it's like a job, just constantly having to find time to eat and get a snack in here. Like not even hungry, you just have to keep eating. So it was, I'm kind of glad that whole process is over. I'm kind of at a steady weight now, so glad that's all over with.
Why is it working out so much for the Jets? So like I said, you have been paying dividends for this team since the get, and you've really flourished in this position as a guy.
We're constantly bringing in fresh guys on the D-line. In Indy, I'd be out there on third down, kind of already gassed from like first and second down. So third down comes and you're a little bit more.
Guy coming in those sub situations, getting pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, it's like I was saying, it's a lot different than my role in Indy, but it's nice having like the rotation that we have where we're constantly bringing in fresh guys on the D-line. In Indy, I'd be out there on third down, kind of already gassed from like first and second down. So third down comes and you're a little bit more tired. You don't feel like as quick as you want to be, especially when you're trying to work quick pass rush moves against the offensive linemen. So, I mean, with the rotation we have where, I'll usually be on the sideline first and second down. I can come in on third down fresh, ready to go. And I just kind of feel like I can move at a different speed than the dude I'm lining up across from. So it's been different, but the rotation we have is definitely has helped a lot.
Now with as many defensive linemen as you have, and with that rotation, I'm sure it gets very competitive. Do you guys have like a sack pot? All the teams I played on, we used to put together some money for the first defensive lineman to get a sack. Do you guys do anything special like that during games?
I wish. But Me and Leo kind of have like he's got 3, I got 2.5, so we're kind of pushing each other and trying to get those numbers up. But no, we don't have any no sack pot or anything like that.
How have you changed your pass rushing style since entering the National Football League? The book on you has always been, this guy has a tremendous motor, and from watching you here early in the season, that is 100% accurate.
Yeah, it's. I was actually my rookie year. I was a terrible pass rusher.
Really?
Yeah, I was really bad. College. I mean, my senior year in college, I had 8.5 sacks. So I mean, I had a lot of success in college rushing the passer. But in the league, like offensive linemen are just, they do a lot of like crafty vet stuff that you don't really see at the college level. Their punch is different, their sets are different. So it took me. I'm still getting used to it. I've got a long ways to go as a pass rusher, but got a little more comfortable out there, recognizing and kind of learning and understanding pass sets by the offensive linemen, and just continuing to work hands and feet, and working edges on the offensive line.
I think that's a great point, and I'd like you to elaborate on that a little bit. When you talk pass sets, what does that mean for folks out there listening as far as what are your keys?
Yeah, I mean, so third down, I mean, most of the time, if it's 3rd and 3+, 3rd and 4+, I'm thinking pass. Like, they're probably not going to run the ball if it's 3rd and 3+. So once I'm out there, I'm just thinking get off the ball. But the thing is, like, I mean, some offensive linemen will, the snap of the ball, they'll jump right out at you, punch you right in the chest, and then some offensive linemen will we call it soft setting, where they'll just kick back and almost like kick back into the quarterback, and they won't give you any hand, like they won't shoot their hands at you. They'll just they want you to just run straight into them so they can hug you up and just kind of let you sit in the middle of them. So different guys, and like within all that, they punch with different hands. Sometimes they'll punch the inside hand and kind of wait with the outside hand until you work your move and then try to grab you. So there's just a bunch of different little nuances that you try to pick up as you watch film and stuff like that. But the more reps that I've gotten, the more comfortable I've been pass rushing. So it's still a work in progress, though.
So with all the rules, there was a lot of controversy the first couple of weeks in the NFL with defensive linemen hitting quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. How has that changed the way you approach hitting the quarterback, and do you feel like you've made the adjustment? Yeah, I mean, it's such a hard rule, just because like in certain cases you can definitely pull off and kind of roll to the side, but then I mean certain situations you're running head on, and like some quarterbacks in the league aren't easy to, like if you're trying to sack Ben Roethlisberger or like Cam Newton, like you don't have the luxury of just like rolling off to the side and because they're just as big as you.
Yeah, like these guys are going to break the tackle if I try to roll off to the side. So, I mean, it's hard. I know there's been a lot of questionable calls the first few weeks of the season. Honestly, I haven't really changed anything. The sacks that I've gotten, I kind of hit Tyrod pretty hard in the Cleveland game, but I guess I didn't land on top of him because they didn't throw the flag. But yeah, I'm coming. I usually rush on the right side, so I'm coming from the quarterback's blind side, and usually if I do sack him, I'm kind of falling. I'm not falling like straight on top of him anyway, so I haven't had to adjust anything too much thus far. But yeah, just hoping I don't get called for that, because that's a pretty big fine these days.
All right, listen, we got to have you come back on, because there's about 25 topics that we didn't get to that I'd like to talk to you about. But Henry, you're off to a very good start with your new team. It was a big-time addition, great value by Mike McCagnon getting you for a 7th-round pick. Thanks for stopping by tonight. And Erik Coleman and myself will come back for our final segment here on Inside the Jets.
This in years.
You're not kidding, Bob. The people need to know about this standout.
Introducing this year's most sought-after rookie, the M&T Bank Jets debit card. New on the scene, this fantastic plastic stands 2.125 inches tall and weighs a lean 0.2 ounces. This small but mighty paying machine is sure to be charging through checkout lines all season long.
Hey Jets fans, get your hands on the exclusive Jets debit card with Easy Choice Checking. It's It's free from a monthly maintenance fee and free from a minimum balance requirement, leaving you free from worry.
You know, I have a feeling we're going to be seeing this powerhouse everywhere soon.
No doubt about it. I want one on my team.
So show your love for the Jets and save on fees today. Rush to any M&T Bank branch or mtb.com/Jets today. M&T Bank, the official community bank of your New York Jets. Other transaction and service fees, including insufficient funds and overdraft fees, may apply to this account. Member FDIC.
As a young boy, Gavin loved playing football. He lived and breathed it, wanted to go pro. Why, he'd spend hours upon hours just practicing his touchdown dances. And one day, while getting fitted for bifocals, he realized he was never much good at throwing, or running, or catching, or even kicking. Yeah, Gavin's chances of playing pro football were looking like 4th and long. Very long. But he did hear how Geico could save him money on car insurance, so he switched and saved. Then he did kind of a touchdown dance. At least he was still good at that.
Advance your career at Centenary University's School of Professional Studies. With accelerated scheduling and competitive pricing, it's convenient for busy adults to earn an MBA, undergraduate degree, or certificate. Centenary graduates work in hot fields like social media marketing, criminal justice, data analytics, health administration, and sports management. At Centenary University, they're committed to your success. Learn more at sps.centenaryuniversity.edu.
Around my house, I'm called difficult. I know what I want, and I always want more. Take my insurance, for instance. I want more coverages, but there's no chance I'm paying more for it. My agent knows this, and that's why she recommended the Selective Edge. With the Selective Edge, I get higher coverage limits and even coverages I didn't know I need. And my agent knows what discounts I deserve. More coverage, more options, less money. That's not too difficult, is it? Find an agent near you by visiting selective.com. Selective. Response is everything.
Jet fans, take your Sunday to another level with the Premier Jets pregame party at Club Prime Sport. Enjoy food and drinks, games and giveaways, plus live entertainment. Elevate your game day at MetLife Stadium with a Jets experience like no other. Go to primesport.com or call 877-527-2603 today to secure your spot at the official Jets pregame hospitality at Club Prime Sport. With Prime Sport, it's more than a game, it's an experience. Primesport.com.
Hey, Jets fans, New Jersey Motor Vehicle Chief Administrator Sue Fulton here to welcome you back for a brand new season of action-packed NFL football and to warn you about the dangers of texting while driving. Sure, fines and penalties are steep, but did you know you're also 23 times more likely to get into an accident if you text and drive? Or that taking your eyes off the road for just 5 seconds at highway speeds is like traveling the length of a football field blindfolded? That's not a winning drive, Jets fans. Learn more at justdrive.com.
Every time you close your laptop, a Corona gets its lime. And every time your to-do list is to do one less thing, a Corona gets its lime. Every time you press pause. Every time you unwind or lose track of time, a Corona gets its lime. And every time your feet are up while the sun goes down, a Corona gets its lime. So drop a lime in and find your beach. Please drink responsibly. Corona Extra Beer, imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
Welcome back to Inside the Jets. We are broadcasting live from Vanderbilt Sports and Spirits inside the Wyndham Hamilton Park Hotel. Erik Allen alongside Erik Coleman. Wow, those guys, both of them, Andre Roberts and Henry Anderson, impressive dudes, and they can play football too. Big pickups from Mike McKagnon here in the offseason.
Absolutely, and you always talk about bringing in good character guys. You know, both of those gentlemen are great people off the field and on the field, hard workers, great examples for the young players to follow, and they're producing for the Jets, more importantly.
You know what? We didn't get a chance to talk to Anderson about his nickname. Everyone around the building calls him Goose, but nobody has figured out the nickname. So we have to have him back on for another segment. And then Andre Roberts, interesting background.
Mm-hmm.
Moving all over the place, grown up in a military family, and he came here in the offseason under the radar signing. And I don't think a lot of people knew what he could bring to the table. He's been an explosive return man for this team.
Yeah, I mean, and having an explosive return man is something that's taken for granted. He's a guy that can help this offense with field position, changing the sides of the field, and really be a weapon. You know, he's a good leader on special teams, comes from Atlanta with the special teams coach, Keith Armstrong, I played for, one of the best in the league. So you know he's going to have great discipline and really, you know, has had a great year thus far.
And Anderson has fit in very well along that defensive front because you're asking him to come in and not play 3 downs. He's the guy who's coming in and being that situational pass rusher, and he's thriving doing that. Not only is he getting to the quarterback and getting some hits, and he's got the 2.5 sacks, which is already career high, he's also very long. So that provides a lot of issues for those inside offensive linemen, the guards who've got to take care of him because he's got that long reach and he can get his hands up against opposing quarterbacks.
Yeah, you know, and he's a player that's just getting started, you know, with his production. You mentioned a career-high 2.5 sacks, but the sky's the limit for this guy. You know, he's come in. He's been a great asset. He mentioned using his hands so well. He does a great job of – he's starting to understand how offensive linemen are starting to attack him, use it against them, and it's really become a great competition between he and Leonard Williams. You know, they're getting after the quarterback, getting pressure on the quarterback, which makes things easier for guys like myself who are in the secondary.
Oh, you're always thinking about yourself, Erik Coleman.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think about this matchup this week? The Jets go to Chicago after the 3-game homestand, back on the road again, and then they'll start AFC East play in earnest because their next 3 games after the Bears, AFC East divisional foes, including a return matchup with the Dolphins. But first things first, this is going to be a desperate Bears team because they are 3-3. They easily could be 4-2, 5-1, maybe even 6-0.
Yeah, you know, this is a tough Bears team. You know, not many people had them mentioned at the top of the NFC North. That's a tough division this year with Detroit, Chicago, Green Bay, and Minnesota, who the Jets just faced. A tough division, but the Bears have a lot of talent. They got an instant upgrade getting Khalil Mack, one of the best defensive players in the NFL. Mitch Trubisky's doing a great job offensively, throwing the ball around. A couple of weeks ago, had 6 touchdown passes. So he's a guy who can catch fire and really be an issue at quarterback.
Mack has been hobbled with the ankle. He's still been playing through it. But how do you go about blocking him? You can't go – I got to imagine you're not going one-on-one again. You're going to need help from the backs. You're going to need help from the tight ends.
Absolutely. You have to block him by committee. You know, and he's not one of these pass rushers that you can say, you know what, he's a great pass rusher, let's run at him. Because he's great at stopping the run as well. You know, does a good job of pursuing from the backside, forcing from the front side, and obviously one of the better pass rushers. You're going to need Tomlinson. You're going to need Bilal Powell. You're going to need several players to understand where he is every single play and get away from him as soon as possible.
Conversely, you mentioned Trubisky. I think he's a quarterback who's still finding himself in his second season. He had the big day against the Buccaneers with the 6 touchdown passes. Against New England, what you saw from him was a propensity maybe to escape that pocket and use his feet, and he'll do that at times. Where do you think he is at here early in his career?
Well, you know, listen, this guy has a ton of talent.
Yeah.
You're right with the apprehension to throw the ball down the field against great secondaries. Second leading rusher on the team, so it shows you how much he's been on the run. But he is a player that has all the arm talent, doesn't have many reps, though. You know, he didn't play much at North Carolina. Came in last year, played some good football, but not really where he wanted to be. He's a guy, like you said, is finding himself, finding his game, and really progressing as a quarterback each week.
Well, that offense they run, though, you're seeing it from the Andy Reid tree. What do the Jets have to prepare for in terms of the offensive scheme?
For that scheme, you know, Andy Reid, that tree, they like to use a lot of crossing routes, a lot of cross-country routes, which is over the top of the linebackers. You know, you see it with Tyreek Hill making those big plays, running away from the secondary. They do a great job attacking the ball vertically, and obviously the run game and the screen game is an important piece of what they do offensively.
Now, obviously the Bears don't have a Hill on their roster, but they got guys like Taylor Gabriel, Allen Robinson is a big play guy, can make plays down the field. Tariq Cohen, of course, and they'll try to run the football as well. On the other side of the ball, How do the Jets get that balance they want against this Bears defense?
Well, it's going to be tough. They're going to have to find a way to establish that run. And it's tough when you have guys like Trevathan on defense. You have guys like Khalil Mack on defense. Excellent players on the front seven. But, again, the Jets have done it against better defenses. They did it against the Broncos. They've had success against other teams. So establishing that run, Trenton Cannon is going to have another big game if Bilal Powell is still injured. They're going to need some guys to step up. Can't have as many drop passes as they had last week. They need to help out their quarterback as much as possible.
Two similar teams, I think, and we'll have to see what happens next week. Jets Reward members, don't forget to enter code #, in your Jets Rewards portal during the show to earn 100 points. We will be here next week. For Erik Coleman, I'm Erik Allen. We're signing off.
Ernst & Young LLP is proud to be the exclusive professional business and accounting services sponsor of the New York Jets and MetLife Stadium, teaming with them as the official sponsor of the EY Coaches Club. As a global leader in assurance, tax,